can see how different the two talks were. One was being done from Pasig City, Philippines. The other, Mariel's, was in New York. It is in New York. And I'd like to say that one said Philippines was the world's experience hub, while Mariel said it's a hidden jewel. You can obviously see how both love the Philippines. Huh? And now, I like it that Mon gave us a lot of statistics about how positive things are looking in the Philippines. And that Mariel gave us her very intimate personal story of how she came to be where she is now. Let me just ask for questions. If there are questions that are coming on, please hand them to me. But I also have one chismis item first. Okay, Mariel, how did you decide not to retire, and how did you choose that one company, Kindle, after you could actually retire and have fun and go to the beaches and all these things?
Well, thanks, Carol. The choice was a little, it was quite easy. I think the passion I have for engagement in different areas of the world right now gives me the impetus to keep going. So part of what has transpired from working at IBM, which gave me a whirlwind of experience and skill set, I had believed that I could continue a different version of Mariel's, version 2.0. So I chose Kindle for many reasons. The alignment of their corporate values. I also believe that they have a significant amount of opportunity in the marketplace. They're a startup, but they're embedded in significant amount of enterprises doing all their mission critical business and applications and helping companies transform. And the higher purpose in what I believe can be done through the power of their services and their capabilities. So I feel I still have a good, 10, 15 years to go. I really enjoy what I'm doing. And so...
how is that? There's going to be a global recession. Isn't it going to be very difficult?
It is. I think part of what's important here is that technology is really pervasive in everything we do. And so when the market is up, there's a very different agenda for every enterprise, and they consume different types of businesses. And if there is a recession, they need help for different kinds of reasons. And I truly believe that the business we're in the world of technology, can flex to support the critical needs of every enterprise. And I'm about creating value, business development. And the biggest thrust right now, even in the world of recession, is really building a strong ecosystem and partnerships to help deliver a differentiated value in the marketplace.
Okay. Thank you, Mariel. Now let's go to Mon. Mon, we have been, even when I was in the Philippines, we have been praying for the IT industry, the business processing sector to be the destination of choice. And you presented many, many positive indicators. Why do you think it's happening just now and not then? What was stopping us then?
Good morning, everyone from Metro Manila again. By the way, before I answer you, Carol, we're actually in the middle of our 5th typhoon this month. Oh, yeah. Okay. So I can see.
How many miles per hour? How many miles per hour wind?
Sorry?
How many miles per hour wind?
I think, well, let me just put it this way. We have our own way of actually measuring the strength of the wind. We're under signal number 2 yet, because the typhoon still has to hit Metro Manila. We're going to be in the middle of the typhoon. So we're expecting it to actually hit Metro Manila early this evening. But anyway, life must go on, and I'm so glad that our digital infrastructure, our internet connection is still up. Anyway, to answer your question, and that's a very good question, thank you, Carol. I think gotten much better in marketing ourselves. Okay, we have reached that point that we can now actually go around, move around, and very, very confidently tell people that we have the best talent or workforce globally. I think that is what differentiates us now from before.
Very good. That's good. That's so nice to hear. Well, that brings me to this question from the audience. How are we taking care of the health and morale of BPM talents? Is the industry open for employment like Vietnam is?
Okay, we basically have two questions there.
Yes.
First, let me address the question on health issues. That was a big issue probably 10 years ago when the kind of work that we do in the Philippines was purely voice-based services. We're basically just doing customer service, services through the phone, okay? Which means that most of our workers should actually be working at the same time as their customers are awake, okay? But that has changed a bit. Today, only 40% of the kind of job are being done. Most of the things that we're doing right now, especially for financial services like insurance and banking and healthcare services, they're mostly done during the day, okay, where we don't have to follow, the awake times of our clients, and let me just also put it this way: the industry, is one of the most pampered industry today. Okay, both from the player side as well as the government side. The Department of Labor is so strict about ensuring that we put in the right not just the infrastructure, but the right facilities for these players to be able to take good care of their workers. Now, on the second question, yes, we're very, very open. And let me tell you this, Carol, we would have grown much bigger early on if we only have a steady pool or supply of talent, okay? So there's, for example, in analytics alone, okay, right now, you'll be surprised to hear that we have more than 40,000 unfilled jobs. So we're open to people who would like to actually work. And you don't have to be based in the Philippines. You can actually be based somewhere else, okay? Because we are now allowing people to be working from home, okay? So that's we need to do something about the supply of the right talents. And I've actually, yes, Carol, sorry.
Let's let Marielle chime in on this one because she's also very into this, right, Marielle?
Yeah, it's been a passion. As Mon and I met, I guess it's been 10 years ago. This was actually the main vision and strategy we had in the Philippines and making the Philippines a destination for analytics. Because we were trying to get ahead of the potential implications of technology in the world of business process outsourcing. And at that time, we did a research that if we didn't act and address this opportunity, which is the analytics skills, which Juan just mentioned, 40,000 unfilled jobs. And at that time, we were saying by 2015, I'm dating myself, by 2015, only 40% of the business can fulfill opportunities and talent. So I think the net of it is that technology will continue to address this space, and our labor force will have to find a higher value talent, which is what Juan was talking about in analytics. And I think from a global standpoint, the trend, what's happening more and more, is that the skill sets of the analytics, they want to secure those and have them internally because of the competitive advantage it can provide. Where data resides is going to be critical from a regulatory standpoint and privacy. And so what the Philippines and other potential providers of this service will have to be able to do is transition from what they do from a process outsourcing to providing artificial intelligence capable services.
Let me just go back to one. These 40,000, are these for the analytics level workforce that we're looking at, or is it what we were doing in the beginning, which was just phone service and call support, things like that?
I was just referring to our analytics space. Okay, if we look at the unfilled position in the total IT and BPM sector right now, it's going to be running to more than 200,000, Carol.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, and we're not. I'd like to highlight this as well. Okay, the figures that I presented a while ago do not actually cover the 3.5 million Filipinos who are actually working as online freelancers, providing the same kind of services, but they're not actually working for people like United Health Group or JP Morgan Chase, Deutsche Bank, okay? And some of them are actually directly working for these companies, not as freelancers, but direct employees of these companies, and they're based in the provinces, Carol. You'll be surprised. People based in Mindanao who are working for Fortune 500 brands, doing all kinds of stuff.
Oh, that is so nice to hear. Mariels, that was your dream when you were IBM Philippines president, right?
Yes, I think it's everyone's dream at that time. It was a really strong group of leaders, and Mon was part of it. We had people in media, like folks like Buchanko, who was a very strong advocate for it. And I had a great deal of support across the board. And even Mr. Pascual, right? He was actually spearheading UP at that time and participated in the whole, think tank associated in what we could imagine the Philippines to be if we became the destination for analytics.
Okay, so now we are poised for tremendous growth. And there is a lot of opportunity for Filipino IT professionals. Actually, not even just in the Philippines, right, Mariels? Even here in the United States and all over the world, because the demand is there. What do we need to do to make sure our pool of talent is always full?
I'm sorry, what do we need to do to make sure the
The pool of talent, the talent pool is full. It's always brimming with people that we will be able to supply the demand, because that's our real strategic thrust, right? Mon, you first.
Okay. The fastest growing subsector in our IT and BPM industry today is healthcare informatics. And like I said in my presentation, okay, we have the largest pool of US registered nurses outside of the US, okay, still based in the Philippines, okay? And I really hate it when the government does marketing roadshows in the U.S. trying to sell our U.S. registered nurses to U.S. hospitals. Okay, we want them to stay here in the Philippines and work here, and get paid here, so the money that they actually earn gets circulated and will create economic activity in the Philippines. Okay, so that's one thing. Low-hanging fruit that we can actually do here in the Philippines.
How about you, Mariels?
I think it really depends. I believe it's multifaceted in terms of the types of job roles that's required from a global standpoint. I think I've said earlier, there's still a great need for analytic skills. And those analytic skills range from the very complex, from the scientific and algorithmic kinds of capabilities to operational and business. I do believe that the Filipinos in general have the capability of doing the business and the operational analytics, but it's fundamental in our educational system. So I think it becomes then critical for us to figure out how we can take a lot of the folks in the business process outsourcing profession and transition them to the higher level set of skills in the world of analytics. So I'm not really answering the question on how to keep it full, but I think it's how do we progress the critical skills we have right now that we dominate. I mean, we've got really great skills in the world of process outsourcing, but the real thrust and urgency is how that we move them up the food chain. And part of the discussion here is whether they're local or global, it's what money is coming back into the economy. And my thrust at that time is it doesn't matter if they left the country, because they're going to earn a lot more money. It's going to come back to the Philippines, right? So the opportunity was exponential. And I think, you know, my point there is that right now, the skills that are required are the people who are really strategic in their thinking. Innovation is important in a lot of how companies are changing their business models. We've got the skill sets around analytics. There's this really great opportunity for Filipinos to focus on skills around blockchain. That's another dimension or another opportunity for us.
That's a very great point, Maria.
Carol,
Yes.
if I may add, Carol.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, one exciting development that's actually emerging in the Philippines in the IT sector is the adoption of artificial intelligence in the workplace. Okay, in the last Everest Group study, we've seen that 17% of the work that is actually being done in the sector is now being done by AI. Okay, what basically now is the result of that is AI has taken out the machine in most of these workers and have allowed these workers to free themselves up to take on higher value roles that they're actually capable of doing.
So, yeah, it's become a natural progression. But let me go to one of these questions by our audience. Today, Speaker Romualdez announced that all government documents will be digitalized. In order to accomplish this, does the Philippines have the critical infrastructure to make this happen? Mon?
Okay, I think the national government is ready. And they have to, because that's actually the order, that's the new marching order of the president. And I think Speaker Romualdez is just echoing, the instructions of the president. I think what's going to be critical is the readiness of our local government units to actually digitalize their documents. Not only their documents, but digitalize their processes as well. I hate to say this, but a lot of the problems that we're currently facing is very much related to the local government, the way local governments are actually operating.
Okay.
I just want to make a comment. And first, I want to reinforce and emphasize that our Vice President, Duterte, is extremely technology savvy. She's very visionary. And when I worked with her when she was the mayor in Davao, this was many, many years ago, she already envisioned having a control tower in Davao, which we actually made happen, integrated all the emergency services units. And the Philippines at the time, Davao was declared, right, the first in the world to have a smarter city. So just going back to the question around, is the Philippines ready? I think there's also a cultural element associated with that question, because part of what I've experienced being home for 5 years was that many of the folks many of the leaders just do not trust the process. That's why there's a lot of checking. When you digitize documents, you have to trust the process of where these documents are going to be derived. And so that's why I said the biggest opportunity, and Dubai has done this already, right? The fastest way of doing that is through blockchain, because blockchain will give you the trusted, transparent data and permissioned participants within the network. So another great opportunity for our country, at the same time, our ability to provide those types of services.
Thank you very much, Marielle. Didn't we invite the right people for this track? My gosh. Okay, but we only have 2 minutes left, and we would like to summarize what we accomplished in this track. I'll give you 1 minute each for your summary. Marielle?
Yeah, well, thank you so much, Carol. I think from when I started at IBM, and that was, 37 years ago, technology was a necessary evil. It was a back office. Now it's pervasive. It's in everything that we do. I think part of what we need to recognize that as we, have our younger generation go through the process, there are still consistent and foundational skills that would be required for them to be successful. And the critical thinking aspect that was said earlier in the prior panel, so important in how we develop and become part of that ecosystem that delivers higher services. Filipinos in general are innovative and creative. That's really fundamental in advancing in any careers that we go after, whether it's technology or other career paths for the next generation. Emotional and social intelligence is important. And part of what technology delivers is how you can align that with the business and also be able to appreciate what it means for the social economic opportunity. I just am very grateful because I did see the hidden jewel that now we have great leaders out there that was mentioned that's becoming more and more visible. We just have to have a strong point of view in the marketplace. As Juan said earlier, we have to do a better job, not only marketing the Philippines, but even our own selves. We all have a voice. And, when we're heard, we make an impact.
Yeah, thank you, Marielle. Very positive note. Now, Mon.
Okay. After spending, almost 50 years in the IT sector, both in the private sector and the public sector, I'm actually focusing my time now on trying to solve what I say a big gap, okay? Where we are in need of hundreds of thousands of people to work for the IT sector, and we cannot hire enough. And then we have over 1 million unemployed Filipinos, okay? Unemployed because they don't have the skills that the sector needs. And we're talking here of just the IT sector, okay? I think there's a need for us, both those based in the Philippines as well as, Filipinos abroad, to actually work together with the government to encourage our kids, for example, to take up STEM-related courses, okay? I was actually looking at the how much percent of the kids entering senior high are actually taking the STEM track. Less than 15%, and most of the kids would rather get into the other tracks, the easier tracks, because they hate science and math. We need to do a better job of actually selling science and math early on to our grade 1 or even preschool kids. Okay, that is going to help solve a lot of the social problems that we have in the Philippines. Thank you, Carol.
Thank you very much, Mon. Now, what we had are very good discussion. It's a very good discussion, and somebody in the audience said, "This hope." I'm hopeful that the Philippines will always be in the top 3 for an IT environment. as a service industry. And from Ari, how can we keep this dialogue going? Because they were so interested in this dialogue that we started. I like it that these two people, Mon and Mariels, are still in the workforce, making sure that our IT industry and IT professionals thrive in all these environments and our country progresses because of technology. I'm sorry I'm already retired, but I will just keep on doing the dialogues like this. Bye-bye.